I was too young to have marched with Dr. King, but I knew men and women in my community who did. I never got a chance to say hello to Dr. King or to share a meal with Dr. King, but I was in solidarity with Dr. King. I was 8 years old when the news spread throughout our community that Dr. King had been assassinated. That afternoon when we got home from school, my grandmother told us to come into her room. We had an altar. You know, Catholics, we gotta, bring the Lord where we go. We have angels and saints and emissaries and ambassadors. My grandmother told us to pray. Now, we didn't know what we were praying for, but she said, start with the Lord's Prayer. When we finished, she said, Dr. King had been assassinated. Dr. King was killed. And we're like, no, we're kids. Who could have done this? Why? We questioned her. We didn't know. And she said, but pray for him, pray for his family, and pray for the person who did this. And at that point, we looked up, and of course, I had one of the biggest mouths. My mother would be pleased, too, that I still have a contract with CNN and ABC. She used to always say, shut up, Donna. And I kept talking, shut up, Donna. And I would shut up and then keep talking. But grandmother said, we're going to pray. We're going to pray for those. We didn't know who did it. She said, we're going to pray for his enemies. She said, the Bible said we pray for the enemies. And we prayed all throughout that evening. When my parents got home that night, we were still practically praying, although we had a good meal of red beans. My mother and father brought news from what was happening in the community. Reverend Clay down the street was about to have a vigil. My mother told us we couldn't go. We were too young. And of all of the things I did in my youth, the only time I ever disobeyed my mother, and God, did I pay for it, but I had to do it, I went to the vigil. I snuck out the back window, figuring that with 9 kids, she would not miss one. When I got home, that porch light was on, and you all know what happened. Back then, no one called 911 when they told you to go get a switch. And we couldn't bring them those small switches. You had to get a good one. I often went to the weeping willow tree because that one there could, bounce off you. I used to act the part. Oh, she said, I haven't even hit you yet. Oh, okay. Oh. But I had to go there. I had to be part of that evening. I knew then, ladies and gentlemen, what I would do with my life. I was 8 years old, but I knew exactly what I would do with my life.